Hi guys, this is part 3 of making the teddy bear chair. This is the part where we cut all the joints and start assembling it. And don't forget, it's free to subscribe. Okay guys, next step. Jake's busy taking the next Morrison tenon out. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and don't forget we're making the back part to the chair there. Jake, any questions?
Yeah, is that deep enough?
It is deep enough. Now if you just hold that camera for me. Right, to test the depth, you can put a bit of scrap wood in, tap it in. You can make a mark. You can transfer that mark to the ruler. And it's about 12-13 millimeters, so it could go slightly deeper. And I can see in the one you've drilled, nice piece of work, that is just under 15 mil. That's perfect. But to be honest, when you glue it together, you can get it still square, and it might be that one joint is not fully used in terms of its depth. So, you were going to ask me a question about the marking gauge.
Oh yeah, how do we use it?
Now here, this is the marking gauge. Now for the older viewers, or even on this project, you can use the marking gauge to mark out the joint. So I'll explain in a minute how you do it. You can adjust the screw setting here, setting here, and you can adjust the actual pins here by sliding this up and down. So can you see I can slide it up and down using that one?
Ah.
And then the depth of the cut you can adjust here. So you can use this to mark out joints, a marking gauge. Quite clever actually. And you hold it down quite hard for the younger viewers and you scrape it down. Don't go beyond the necessary distance because you'll have two horrible marks. And you can turn it around. It should be centralised, of course.
Of course, don't press too hard, otherwise it may slip and you may cut yourself.
And you can even do little markers like that. Only there, so you know, two little markers. Can you see that? There. And then you may want to, very carefully with a sharp pencil, using that technique there, run a pencil down the mark if you want to, if it helps the younger viewer so you can really see that mark. And as you know, with a little tri-square, we can mark off that joint. Now you could do that with a template, and I'll show you. So you could do this, if you've got a template marked out, place it on there and literally mark it out. Okay? And the same there. And the shading, Jake, what does the shading indicate?
Well, the part you're meant to take out.
Yes. Now the viewers understand why I've done that in this step. So, in a momentum. So let's look at this, Jake. If I tap, this is excellent work, Jake. If I tap that in there with the mallet carefully, I'm not going to go mad. Get that square. Good. Has to be square, guys. And we'll get another piece of timber to get from you. Try not to damage your wood, guys. So if you bash it too much there, you'll end up with damaged pieces. Right. That might have gone a little bit too deep because that joint's deeper. So one side, the left side of the back rail, leg, left side, that side there. Can you see how it's coming together?
Yeah.
And here's the other one we've made. Oh, I've got too many in, look. Okay, so that doesn't really matter. I thought one of these, okay, let's just pull this out. Get any debris out. And put this firmly in the vise. Don't go mad, place it in there. Do a dry fit. What do you think that means, Jake? Dry fit?
You fit it without glue.
Without PVA, put that in last. Don't put any glue in for now.
And don't mistake it for your milk.
No, very funny. Right, okay, so tap it, bit of scrap wood. Don't go mad. Don't hammer your hand. Now, put the tri-square in there. I can see slightly off, Jake. Can you see?
Yeah.
So ready? There, look, perfect. Pretty well.
Well, maybe it could go a little bit more.
Yeah, there, perfect. And then this side should be the same because it's the same marking up. So make sure when you do all your marking out, you do it together. Check with your teacher, whoever's helping you. Maybe an adult, another adult. Okay, that's the back.
Yeah.
Okay. And this is the front. There's the beginning of the chair. And then we have two rails coming across here. One there and one there. So I've got to cut out that joint. And that joint. So that's the next step. Now this is tricky. So if I put that in there, like that, what could happen?
Well, you could split the wood right
Yeah,
there.
and that's where... So let me just show you this step. Take your leg apart.
Well, not your real leg.
No, not your real leg. Chisel that out. Chisel the other one out. But you're only going down 15 millimeters. Almost till it joins the other one. Can you see that, guys? Joins there. So important you get this right. Don't go mad. Now, a lot of youngsters may be tempted to just go mad here. So I'm going to ask you again, go carefully around. This is where it's very, very fragile because you've got a weakness now because you've actually reduced the timber quite a lot in strength. So go on the inside of the line. Again, don't be tempted to rush this part because you've only got two to do. And remember, the wood's below the vice jaws. These are the vice jaws. And your chisel's vertical. And turn your chisel around so it's a scooping action. Position yourself so it's safe. And down. And scoop. Do not split your wood. Don't go in too deep. You mustn't go in too deep. So the angle, that's it there. The angle's quite shallow. Probably only about 20 to 30 degrees.
Yeah.
So we're going to go down a little bit deeper. Scooping action. So if you turn the chisel that way, I can assure you it will just dig in. And then you're going to have two different bits of wood, you know. Split it in two. So avoid that. Wood's expensive, remember, guys.
Well, I think that's deep enough
It is
on
there.
that end,
So
but not that end.
no. So if you come round that side, Joe. Good. Turn the chisel around carefully. Go for the top. Now you could split that all the way down there if you're not careful. So you must put the chisel there. Bit of a healthy tap and twist, and then here vertical, and in here not too deep, and then twist, and it should just literally fall out. So you've got to do it bit by bit. Be quicker than rushing it this way. That sounds weird. Vertical. If your wood's moving in your vise, which mine is, tighten your vise and reposition it. Otherwise it'll all start going wrong. So keep tightening that vise. Well done, Jake. Nice and tight. Now that is probably deep enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, and really important here, that's vertical.
Yeah.
And I can see it is.
It looks like the line is still there.
It is. 10mm chisel, done it perfectly.
Yeah.
So you do two of those, that one and that one. And the other thing people can do, make a mistake, and this is why you do it all together. Right, it goes like that. Don't make the mistake of putting a hole here, and then you can't, it's all wrong.
You don't want to do
Oh,
that.
sorry, actually. It goes like that. That
was
is
a close
correct.
one.
That's correct. So we mark it. So mark it out with your adult, your youngster, and just keep checking. Yeah. So So you can have a rail here in the top and a rail there and a rail there. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Just keep checking. So I'm double checking. Yes, there it is. There's the marking. Lots of people go wrong on this bit. You nearly did, didn't you, Jake?
Well, maybe.
Not that you make mistakes very often. You're quite careful. But, you know, we're all human. So again, and we'll come back to you in a minute with this, putting this together. Next step, guys, is to put the legs together with the rails and mark up where the last joint is. Lots of joints on this, about 8 or 9, 10, 100 million. So I'm going to put this in the vise carefully. You could do it on the bench. Get the depth right. Tap it down. There. And do the same here, making sure you've got the right, it's not that way round, it's that way round. Yeah, like that, guys.
Yes.
Watch. Okay, Jake. Now, I don't want to split the wood, so I'm going to put that in here, definitely. If I try and do that out of the vise, it's going to break. And I don't want to break my wood here, so... You know, that's it. Now, I have seen people open the vise right up, so if you come back, spin the vise right out. Hopefully your vise will be big enough. Make it level. Put that in there.
Oh, and kind of crush it.
Yeah, but I don't want to split it. I'm going to make sure it's square as I go.
Let's hope you don't split it.
Right, if you go there, Jake, can you see? Is it gone right in?
No, it needs just a tiny bit over
I won't
there.
anymore. That's it. I'll crush it and break it.
Ah.
So that's that. Okay. Now, to mark up the next piece, because that's how it's going to go together, bring them together. Really important this. Bring them together. Lie them flat. There, they're flat there. See, this one's slightly twisted. And then make a mark. If you come around here, Jake, make a mark. Can you see? Make a mark. And that mark should be the same distance as that. You can then use a tri-square if you want to and just make it neater. Now, the joint there, easy peasy, is the same depth. Can you see?
Yeah.
Same depth. And the same depth there. And there'll be a joint there. Now you could use your mortise gauge to make a mark down there. Like this. Yes, Jake.
Is that called a mortise gauge or a marking gauge?
Mortise gauge. Did I say mark? But some people, the marking gauges tend to have one spike. And then the same there, and you pull it back. Now, I'm going to use the template so the shed hackers can see this. If you're still shed hackers at home. And there. Younger viewers will find the template really good. Template. Really useful. Double check every time. There's our leg. Looks like it's going to be good. We're going to put 2 new mortise and tenon holes there. The mortise is the hole and the tenon is the lip, if you like. Now ours are just through and they've got no shoulder. That means they're not thinner than the piece of wood and they just slide straight in. On a more professional job, you'll have a shoulder, so actually you trim off little bits and you have a smaller part sticking out, so you can't see the whole of the joint. But it's such a small job, we can't. I don't think we're going to do that very easy with the younger viewers.
Yeah.
So a hole there, mortise hole there, mortise hole there, and then the tenons will go in. So I'll come back to you on that one, and then the frame will be completed. In the next stage, we've marked out our joints carefully there and there. Check the square across, and we're going to go round with the chisel. Round with the chisel. I'll take that out and we'll do a time lapse on this, shall we, Jake?
Yeah.
Okay then. In this step, we're going to assemble it dry without any PVA glue, and you'll see the sort of technique. So there's our front rails and our joints, mortise joints all done. 1, 2, 3, 4, and we've done our back rear frame here, ready for our front frame to join. Okay, all dry done. I've just done that. When you're chiseling this, be careful. You can hold it there, but be careful it's still vertical and you don't blow out the sides and split it apart. Really careful. Or you can take it apart and do it as I did in the earlier clips. And then I suppose the next thing is really, oh yes, Jake did ask, are we going to plane it? Now you could plane it again before you put it together, just to get those sharp corners off. And if you're careful, you can even do the inside ones. And again here, and if you have to there. Nicely done. Plane on its side, checking it's all square. It's looking pretty good, Jake. Looks pretty good.
Is it because I helped?
It's because you helped, I think. I'm almost certain. And then we're going to place it there. I suppose you could place it in the vise while you put it together. The vise is really handy to use all the time, guys. I'm going to put it in there and turn it around, because I might split it that way. Get my mallet again.
And a scrap piece of wood.
A scrap piece of wood. Turn it around. My rail again. Yeah, good joints actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. Get those lined up. Can you see I'm getting it square? There. And this one. Oh, that's pretty good. Now, I can see it's slightly twisted, so I'm going to tap this in here.
Like love tap it.
Yep. Right, looking good, looking good. It doesn't go that way round. I've seen chairs.
Well, maybe it could. It would just be upside down.
It'll be wonky. So think about what you're doing always. Remember, you're making your teddy bear chair. So it's got to look like the teddy bear chair. So place that on its back carefully. If you come around here, Jake, this is where I've seen, unfortunately, people do all that work and they split their legs in two. So push it in carefully. Hold your work. And don't over hit with the mallet. It will break the timber, and you don't want to undo all that hard work.
I think it needs to go a bit more.
Yeah, what I'm doing. Ooh,
That's it.
I don't want you to go bing and split the whole thing in two. Put it flat. Well, actually, considering we haven't even glued it, that's pretty good.
I wonder if you can stand on it.
I probably could. I'm not going to stand on it now.
We'll stand on it at the end.
Oh. Completely label it shed hacker. So that will go onto there, and you can put your other slats very carefully glued on, but don't do this until obviously you glued the frame together. The frame I'm going to show you how to glue together in a moment, but we're nearly at the end. I think we need another piece of wood. Oh yeah, there's another one there, look. What wood is it?
Looks like pine.
Yes. Now to make it stronger, can you see that piece is cut out there at the back, and it looks more like a chair. So mark out that evenly there, take it away and make that line there, and make a line there. You can use a tri-square to get that nice and then square, and then shade that off. And we can cut that out with the good old tenon saw. So if I just go around the back of you, Jake, we've learned not to go in front of the camera, haven't we?
Yeah.
So make a mark.
Could you use a bench hook for this?
You could use a bench hook, which we've lost at the moment. Let's make another one. One cut there.
Maybe we could make it.
Do one in the middle if you want. Yeah, I could do it. Shed hacks bench hook. And the same here. Put your finger there. Don't cut your finger. go down to the line, and then I'm just going to turn it on its side. These clips are a little longer, but I think if you follow them, you'll get a really good project. Very carefully. Part one. And I suppose you could file that neater. It wasn't perfect.
Although
Chisel it.
files are generally known as a metalworker's.
I'm afraid, yes, the professionals wouldn't use files on wood. Use the whole of the blade. Don't push down too hard. Slow down at the end. Think about your safety, guys. I mean, you could put it in the vise. I'm just going to grab that chisel there, Jake. Move the sword to one side. And you could just take off the weirdest bit there. Okay, and I'll come around here. Don't put your hand or your finger in front of the blade. It will go wrong at some point, no doubt. Look at that. And you can just do that if you want to take off a little bit there. Now, I don't know if this is going to fit. So,
I hope it will.
Put that chisel so it doesn't roll off the bench. A little bit more off.
Pretty accurate though.
Yes. I'm going to do half at a time. There. See that, Jake?
Yeah.
Yeah, done half. And I'm going to do the other half. Okay. Might not be enough still, but it's not bad. Oh yeah, it's alright.
Oh, it's perfect.
Yeah, and that actually gives it strength as well. And the stronger it is, obviously the more stable it is as a little chair. Now that's with no glue.
So yeah.
And I reckon
stand on it.
I'm going to stand on it with no glue. Ready?
Yeah.
There you go.
And that's with
12,
no glue.
12 stone.
And
That's
no
after that
glue.
6 mile run we did yesterday as well. Anyway, so here we go. So that's it dry with the slats. We can glue it together.
Yeah.
And how you glue it is really up to you. You can use larger G-clamps, or if I show the viewers these.
We've got these quick rips, which
These
are
are pretty
really
good.
handy.
So put the glue in the joint and then just tighten it up. When you tighten it, make sure that it's all glued square. Or if you glue it out of square, when it's not square, it'll look awful and it won't work properly. It won't be a very nice chair. Now, before I even do that, let's just say we're going to glue one joint. Okay?
Wow,
Blimey, it's tight.
so good you probably won't need glue.
Right. I'm going to glue one joint. When you glue, you want to have glue along the surface here. I'm not going to put any on at the moment. And down the shoulder here. So these are the shoulders and the end. You don't really need any at the bottom. It's not really going to make much difference. The strength is in the shoulders, this part, and the base. So you put glue along it. Not too much. I don't want glue coming out everywhere, do we? And it's expensive glue, and then you can pop it all back. But you can do all the gluing pretty well in one go. But as you take it apart from one step or day to another, because you won't do it in one day, just keep it all together and maybe label it up so you know which bits goes where. And if you know you're working with somebody, you may want to perhaps put your name on it so yours doesn't get confused with somebody else's. But that's without gluing. And there, let's put it together again quickly. That would be glued slightly over. And you can do the top differently. There's the joint there, you can see, look at that joint, those joints.
Yeah.
That going there. And then let's just test it on a 13 stone teddy bear. I joke. There he is, he's quite happy. There's no Homer. Shed Hacker. Shall I pull that? Oh, can I pull it off? Oh, well, never mind. There you go. One teddy bear's chair.